The government report makes no attempt to explain the anomalies in the explosives used. There's no reference to Peter Power's counter-terrorist training exercise that involved bombs going off at the same stations and at the same time, and the fact that the alleged terrorists could not have boarded the 740 train from Luton because it was cancelled that morning. The Israeli Finance Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, was warned about the explosions, and we now know the mastermind of 7/7 is an MI6 agent.
The biggest question for me about 7/7 is the fact that a private security firm were running a terrorism drill on the morning of 7/7, and the person who was running the drill, Peter Power, has gone on record and admitted that the scenario they had in their drill matched exactly the real events that happened on the morning. The bombs went off in the exact same tube and train stations that they planned for at exactly the same time. Does that not strike you as a little suspicious? Especially when you think about the other example of this happening, 9/11, when they were running war games. Wake up, people.
On the day of 7/7, Peter Power, the Managing Director of Advisor Consultants, gave an interview to the BBC and ITN. In those interviews, he made it abundantly clear that his organisation was running a counter-terrorist training exercise which involved bombs going off simultaneously at different London Underground stations.
Today we were running an exercise for a company, bearing in mind I'm now in the private sector, and we sat everybody down in the city, 1,000 people involved in the whole organisation, but the crisis team, and the most peculiar thing was we based our scenario on the simultaneous attacks on the Underground and mainline station. So we had to suddenly switch an exercise from fictional to real. And one of the first things is, get that bureau number. When you have a list of people missing, tell them. And it took a long time.
Just to get this right, you were actually working today on an exercise that envisioned virtually this scenario?
Almost precisely. I was up until 2 o'clock this morning because it's our job, my own company, Advisor Consultants. We specialise in helping people to get their crisis management response. How do you jump from slow time thinking to quick time doing? And we chose a scenario with their assistance which is based on a terrorist attack because they're very close to a property occupied by Jewish businessmen. They're in the city, and there are more American banks in the city than there are in the whole of New York. A logical thing to do. And I've still got the...
I was going to say, how extraordinary today must feel for you as it unfolds.
Of all the targets the terrorists could have chosen in London, they apparently elected to attack the same targets as had been envisaged by Visor consultants in their counter-terrorist training exercise.